Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with me. My name is Michael Vass of MV Consulting Incorporated, and today I had the opportunity to speak with George Phillips, who is running for the House of Representatives in New York State. He's going to be in District 22, providing, of course, he wins, and I always hope that he will, because I want to have that exclusive of getting him first. So I thank you for taking a moment to be with us and tell your friends about the interview. George, how are you today? May I call you George?
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael, for having us on.
No problem at all. George, I want to take a moment before we do anything, let's stop for a moment. You're a new face in the political scene for a lot of people. Not everyone is familiar with who you are, what you're about, what you're doing. So can you take a moment and just tell us, who is George Phillips?
Yeah, George Phillips is a local teacher. I grew up in the community here. When I was in college, I actually worked in the old manufacturing plants for IBM. I know now they're EIT.
Okay.
And I've shared in a lot of things from this community. I saw the job losses go down. I was skeptical about politics, believe it or not. So I was a politician now, and I swore off politics when I was younger, but I ended up doing an internship and worked for 4 years actually in Congress for the chairman of the Veterans Committee, vice chairman of the International Relations Committee. A good man, saw how to get things done, but also saw what was broken. And when I came back to my profession as a teacher, and have been teaching here for a few years, I said, we need fresh blood in Washington. We need new faces. I know I can make a difference down there. And it was a difficult decision, consulting with my wife, and we have a young child, but we thought and prayed about it a lot, and I felt that our country needs new people, and we decided to make this race.
You mentioned you were working with someone in Congress before as an intern. Who was it under?
Yeah, it was actually as an internship that kind of was able to help me overcome my skepticism in politics. Then I worked for 4 years as a full-time aide. I worked on bills that were signed into law, one for victims of human trafficking, women who were rescued from forced prostitution rings. But the congressman's name was Christopher Smith. He's from New Jersey. He's still serving. At the time, he was the chairman of the Veterans Committee and vice chair of the International Relations Committee. I did a lot of international relations work in the years after the September 11th attacks. And I think now the issues I'm focusing on, and I'd like to focus on in Congress, are the economy, the out-of-control spending. But I think I could take the expertise that I built up working for Mr. Smith and apply them to needs for this community and needs for our country domestically now. People are talking about change a lot, and I'm just conflicted with Washington right now. Some of the things that I saw turned my stomach down there. And you see the special interests, the lobbyists, the waste, the billions of taxpayer dollars that are being wasted while we're struggling right here. Do you know a study came out recently about the wealthiest counties in the country? And I would have thought New York City suburbs, Los Angeles suburbs.
Makes sense.
Top 3 counties, Washington, D.C. suburbs. 11 out of the top 25, Washington, D.C. area. What does Washington have? It was a limited government. It was a small town for years, and there's been an explosion there of government. And a lot of these government agencies and the bureaucracy and the special interests and the lobbyists and the attorneys all feeding off it, they're not benefiting us here. They're not helping us with our job situation. They're not helping us pay the bills here. It's a lot of Washington waste right now, and I think that's what turns my stomach. And when I go down there, I feel it. I like living up here. I like living down the street here in our modest home, and I like teaching. And it's a love-hate relationship, but I feel like I can make a difference. And the fact that I was down there and know how to navigate a little bit, I feel like I can be a very effective legislator from day one.
Okay. I should also mention for everyone out there, George Phillips is going against incumbent Maurice Hinchey for the District 22 of New York, and Hinchey has been there for some 20-some odd years.
Yeah, he's been in it actually going on 18 years now. 18. Yeah.
18.
We want to connect with all voters. I'm on the Republican ticket, but I think we have a message that hits Democrats, independents, people who aren't into politics. And if you look at it, though, just in sheer strategy standpoint, this district is tough, but the fact that we ran in it once, our name's out there a little bit, we've got a base, we've learned from our mistakes, And I think this is a year that we can win. So we got that groundwork here. And it was interesting when you said incumbent Maurice Hinchey.
Yeah.
That's probably the thing that stands out the most this election. We still have a fairly low name ID, but when we had people going around getting petitions door to door for us, when I'm knocking on doors and shake hands, people say, "Are you an incumbent?" And I say, "No." And they'll say, "Okay, I'm voting for you. I'm voting against all incumbents." People are upset with incumbents right now. So
That's
I know
the trend, yeah.
I know Maurice Hinchey has gained some goodwill through time serving. There's obviously a lot of people who don't like him, people who like him, but for people who voted for him in the past, I say, hey, we need fresh blood. He's had his chance here. We need new faces here, and give us a shot. I think we've got a good platform, and if you want more of the same, then elect the same guys that are in there. But I think people are not happy right now. Only 11% of the American public have confidence in Congress right now. That's an astounding number.
It's almost the all-time low.
Right.
We're right on the edge of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is astounding. It is an incredible number.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, and you kind of captured a couple of
Sure,
the
yeah.
ideas I was thinking of, because in part one of the questions I wanted to ask was platform.
Yeah.
What is it that you're standing for?
Sure.
In terms of going forward, if you were to be elected, what are the issues that you
Yeah.
believe are one, 2, 3, maybe
Yeah.
1 to 5?
I think when you look at it, the top issues right now facing our country are obviously the economy, and that relates to jobs and taxes, in my opinion, and it also relates to spending. And so first, let's look at the problems in Washington right now, in government. And I found myself saying, when I look at each of these, I've had enough. Look at the spending situation right now. They've spent and spent and spent. We have a $13 trillion debt. It's forfeiting our future, our children's future, our grandchildren's future. I've had enough. You look at the job situation. We've had jobs leaving New York State here for years now. My brother lost his job. He moved down to North Carolina. I moved down to North Carolina. I went down there to see him. Half the people from North Carolina. I've had enough of jobs leaving New York and even the national scene as well. And then you look at just some of the shenanigans going on in Washington with the career politicians. I have people coming up to me about this health care bill saying, look, I don't even know what it does, but I heard about these backroom deals, the Cornhusker kickback, the Louisiana Purchase. Some of them were stripped out of the final bill, but I'm sick of career politicians. I've had enough. I found myself saying I've had enough time and time again, and so that's our slogan now, right now, had enough. Vote Phillips for Congress. If you've had enough with the mess in Washington, if you had enough with out-of-control spending, job losses, tax hikes, career politicians, vote for us. Now I realize I have to give more than just, hey, this is the problem that we've all identified. We've all had enough. What are our solutions? I think it starts with spending. You look at this $13 trillion debt. You look at what Greece just went through.
Oh.
Their debt to GDP ratio is not that much different than ours. We need to get this country back on track. We have senior citizens who are worried, is their Social Security and Medicare going to come through because we're spending all this money? We've got businesses worried about tax hikes coming and individuals to pay for this mess. What can we do to cut spending? And I have 3 principles that I'm going to fight for in Washington from day one.